Hi guys and welcome back. So the festive season is coming up and we're all gearing up with our gifts. So here's a fun and quick tutorial. Today we're going to be making a mug cozy with a sunflower pattern. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to get notified every time I post a video. If you try out any of my patterns, please send them to me either on Instagram or by email. The links are in the description. So let's get started. So here are all the supplies you're going to need for this project. I'm going to be using medium 4 worsted weight yarn in a bunch of different colors. Now I want my flower to look a little like a sunflower, so we're going to be using some brown for the base, a slightly darker brown for the center of the flower, green for the leaves and yellow for the petals. Along with all of this yarn, I'm going to be using a 3.5mm crochet hook. Along with this, you're also going to need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, a yarn needle, and you're going to need a mug. Now we're going to be making our pattern based on the size of the mug, so select whichever mug you like. You're also going to need a tiny bit of stuffing. So now to get started, we're going to start with our base color yarn, which is the lighter brown, and we're going to be starting with a slip knot. So make a loop with your yarn. With the tail end, make another loop inside of the first one, pick it up and pull, and then insert your crochet hook and tighten. Now you're going to be doing a chain. Now the size of the chain would depend on the size of your mug. I'll show you in a little bit what that means. For my mug, that's going to be 42 chains. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and do this until you have 42 chains. Like this. So now I have my chain complete. Let me show you how to measure it. So you just place your mug right in the middle and you have to make sure that the two sides meet. So if you see, I have the correct number of stitches right here because my two sides are meeting. If you need to add a couple of chains, you can do that as well. And you can try this with a bunch of different cups and mugs to see what size fits you the best. Once you've got the right size, add 2 more chains, 1 and 2. And now you're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. And into that 4th chain, we're going to place a double crochet. To do a double crochet, yarn over, insert your crochet hook into the 4th chain, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Into the next one, again 1 double crochet. Into the one after that, 1 double crochet. And you're going to do this all the way until you reach the end of the row. So just place 1 double crochet into each of the stitches like this. And you should have a band that will start getting formed that looks like this. So once you're done, this is what it should look like. Now let's start off with the next row. We're going to start with a chain of 3, turn our work around, and then go ahead and place a double crochet on the next stitch, 1 double crochet into the stitch after that, another double crochet on the one after that, and you're going to do that all the way until the end of the row. Now basically we're creating the width of the mug. So just a minute, let me show you. If I place this on the inside of the mug, you can see how wide this is. You can decide how many rows you want to do. Like if you want to do 1 more row after this, you can do that as well, depending on how thick you want your cup cozy to be. You can make another row after this. So to do another row, you're going to start exactly the same way. Chain 3, turn your work around and place 1 double crochet across. Once you're happy with the entire width of the base of your cup cozy, you can stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and complete this row and then show you what it looks like. So just to repeat, place 1 double crochet into each one of these stitches like this. So this is what it looks like now that I've completed row 2. If you see, this was our initial chain 3. We're gonna have to place a double crochet on the top of that as well. And that completes this portion. Now if you want, you can do another row as I mentioned. Chain 3, turn your work around and go in with a double crochet on each of the stitches, the same way as we've done so far. So if you want to do one more row, go ahead, do that. If you want to do 2 more rows, that's fine too. And then once you're happy with the size, meet me back here again and I'll show you how to do the rest of the cup cozy. So now once you're done, this is what your base band should look like. Now I'm at the end and we're going to start making some chains to create a little loop over here. So we're going to go ahead and make 15 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And now we're going to loop it all the way back to the other side. Go to the corner right here and into that first stitch you're going to place a slip stitch like this. So if you can see, you have a loop on one side and on the other side it's just plain and simple. Now we're going to grab our scissors, snip the yarn off, pull it through. I'm going to create a knot on this side, and then I'm just going to take my yarn needle, thread this up and just hide this. So I threaded up both the pieces of yarn. We're just going to go back and forth a bunch of times in order to hide the ends. And once you've done that a few times, you can just snip your yarn off and pull it right through. So now I've got my base ready. Now we're going to go in with some green yarn. I've got some dark green yarn. I'm going to go to that first stitch right here and we're going to attach the green yarn. So place the green yarn in front of your hook and just pull it through. Chain 1 to attach. Now to get started, we're going to make 3 single crochets. Insert your hook into the loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to do 3 half double crochets, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops in the hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. Do that 1, 2 and 3 times. Now 3 double crochets, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops in the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2 and 3. Now we're going to do 2 treble crochets. To do a treble crochet, yarn over twice, insert your crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1. Let's do that one more time. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now we're just going to push our yarn to one side. Now we want to create the tip of the leaf. To create the tip of the leaf, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and then place a slip stitch back into that very first stitch. So here's my chain 4. I'm going back into the base and I'm placing a slip stitch. There's a small tiny little tip that's created that creates the top of our leaf. Now again we're gonna do the opposite pattern. So start with 2 triple crochets, 1 and 2, followed by 3 doubles, 1, 2 and 3, 3 half doubles, 1, 2 and 3 and finally 3 single crochets, 1, 2 3. So if you see, we have this end complete, which is a little leaf. I'll show you a little more clearly. You can see that better now. Now we're going to place a slip stitch into that very first stitch right after the loops. Grab a pair of scissors, snip the yarn off, pull it through, and that completes this part. You can knot this up and then hide the end exactly like how we did it before. So now once you're done, this is what it looks like. Now we're going to create a flower to attach to this end. So now let's get started with the flower. I'm going to be working with the dark brown yarn. We're going to learn how to make a magic ring now. To make a magic ring, take your yarn and then wrap it across 2 fingers to create an X at the back of your fingers. Insert your crochet hook into the bottom, pick up the top and twist and just pull up a loop. You have a magic ring ready. If you're not comfortable with the magic ring method, then you can just chain 2 and start working into the second chain. This is just easier. Now to get started, we're going to be creating 10 single crochets into this ring. To do a single crochet, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and finally we have 10. So if you see, we've placed all of these stitches into the ring, and now we're going to pull the tail end of the ring to close it up. And this is what it looks like. Now we're going to start working into each one of these stitches, and what we're going to place is an increase. An increase is 2 single crochets into every stitch. So into that first stitch, we're going to place 1, 2, into the one after that again 1, 2, into the one after that 1, 2, and you're going to do this 10 times all the way around into each one of those stitches till you have 20 stitches for this row. Once you're done, this is what it should look like. We can just grab our stitch marker, place it on that last stitch so it's easy to keep track of our rows. Now for the next row, you're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way around for 20 stitches for this row. So just go ahead and place a single crochet into each one of the stitches from the previous row. So now once we're done with this row, you can just pull out your stitch marker. We're going to place a slip stitch into the very next stitch and then just snip our yarn off. That completes the first part. Now you're going to go ahead and do a second part identical to this one. The only difference is you're not going to snip the yarn off at the end. Make a second piece like this and then meet me back here again. So now I've completed the second part. If you see, I've not snipped my yarn off. Now we're going to attach these 2 sides together to make a little poofy center for the flower. So here's my working side of the yarn. I'm just going to attach to any of the stitches right here and pull it through so that attaches the 2 sides. Now what I'm going to do is when I'm attaching, I'm actually going to pick up only the back loop of this front piece. So if you see, each stitch has a V. We're going to go only into that back loop and then attach it to the corresponding stitch. When you're attaching it to the other stitch, don't worry about the front and back loop. Just for the front piece, back loop and slip stitch, back loop, back piece, slip stitch, back loop, back piece, slip stitch, like this. So if you see, we're joining the two pieces together. Now once you join this almost until the end, we're gonna add some stuffing. So complete till about maybe this point and till you have about 5 stitches left, and then I'll show you how to close this up. So now we've got our last few stitches. If you see, this is like a little pocket. I'm gonna stuff in that end which I have right there. I'm gonna take some stuffing, little by little roll it up and just push it in. We don't want to overstuff this. I want it just to be lightly stuffed so that it's a little poofy, like that. Once you're happy with the stuffing, continue on with your back loop back piece and single crochet. So again, back loop, attach it to the back piece, single crochet, and do this till you've closed up the entire center of the flower. Now once you're done attaching the two sides together, you can just snip your yarn off, and now we're going to start creating the petals. So to create the petals, we're going to be working in the row of front loops that we left. So if you remember, we did the join with the back loops, but there is a line right here of front loops which are just there by themselves. So you can pick up any of those front loops, take your yellow yarn, place the yarn in front, pull it through. This helps attach the yarn in place. You're going to start with a chain 2. Now in the stitch after that, we're going to place 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and 2. Now we're going to do a picot stitch. You're going to chain 3 and slip stitch back into that first chain, like this. Now again into that same stitch, 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. So we worked all these stitches into the same stitch. Now you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Into the next stitch, the one right next to that, we're going to place a single crochet. That completes our first petal. Now let's start with the next petal. Chain 2, again into the next stitch, 2 double crochets, 1, 2. We're going to do a picot stitch, chain 3, slip stitch into the base, right there, 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2, followed by 2 chains, and into the next stitch a single crochet. So this is the pattern we're going to follow all the way around. You should be left with 10 petals at the end of this. So let's do that together one more time. Gonna start with 2 chains, into the next stitch 2 double crochets, 1, 2, place a picot stitch by chaining 3 and doing a slip stitch into that first chain, again 2 more double crochets, 1, 2, followed by a chain 2, into the next stitch place a single crochet. So if you see, we have 3 little petals formed. Go around until you have 10 petals, and as I told you, we're working only into these front loops right here, so that when we do the second row, we'll do the second row at the back. For now, just into these front loops. Now once you're done with the first row of 10 petals, this is what it looks like. Now we're going to attach our yarn to our joining row at the back. So here's my last stitch. I'm not going to chain 2. I'm directly going to attach to the back side, place a single crochet, chain 2, and into the next stitch do 2 double crochets, 1 picot, two double crochets, all into the same stitch, followed by a chain 2 and then a single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're just going to follow the pattern that we were doing before, which is chain 2 followed by a whole petal, and do that for one more row. So if you see, you have 2 rows of petals that will get formed. So let's do one more together. I'm gonna do 2 doubles, 1, 2, followed by a picot stitch, 2 more doubles, all into that same stitch, 1 and 2, chain 2, and place a single crochet into the next stitch, which is the one right here. So you'll have to make 10 more petals. I've done 2, so basically 8 more petals to form our second row of petals around. So now once you're done with your second row of petals, you can just slip stitch into the next stitch, leave a long tail that we're going to use to sew this on, and just snip your yarn off and pull it through. And this is what your sunflower looks like. So now you can just thread up the tail that we left on right now. Slowly sew it so that it reaches the center, of the flower. Take the base that you created, and we're going to sew this onto the edge of the base. So right here, place the flower in place, and then you can do a simple stitch to just attach the flower like this. Make sure that the flower is properly secure. Like so. Now before I finish sewing on, let me show you how this works. So we have our mug right here. You can slip your cup warmer through, and then pull the flower through, and there you go. So here's our completed mug cozy. It's so quick and so easy to make. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked the video, please comment below and let me know what you want to see next. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye bye.